Alright, what's up YouTube? It's Josh. I'm back today with another video, and this is a very special video to me because I am finally involving more of my classmates within my channel, and to show that this isn't a channel that's only about my story, it's about the stories of the people around me as well. So with early decision deadlines coming up, you may be on the fence about applying to Dartmouth, whatever that reason may be, and I hope this gives some knowledge more onto the experiences of people that are here, and also to show why a lot of the people here did apply early decision and what their thought process was. I interviewed some of my classmates because a lot of them had really interesting stories, and some of them may not be the typical Dartmouth student that you have in your head. Everyone here can have a place, and I genuinely believe that, so I believe that it was important to represent those stories, represent those places, and represent the people that are involved with either of those. Basically, what I wanted to show is that there are all kinds of people here, and they all found different things to love about the school, and just were so sure that they wanted to go here that they were willing to take the plunge and take this application into the early decision round. Some of these people may not fit your stereotypes or image of a typical Dartmouth student, and I'm glad that I was able to represent a variety of people within this video and to share all of their stories. So thank you. Please watch the rest of this video. I hope you'll like it.
I'm Connor Spencer, and I'm from Barkhamsted, Connecticut. Right now I'm leaning towards a computer science major, and I'm thinking of doing something in there with applied math as well, just because I'm really interested in that. Yeah, so I decided to take a tour in my sophomore year of high school. Loved it. It was amazing. I came back for another one, which I did to no other school. So you could tell I really loved it here. And I knew that I was going to apply to Dartmouth because it was one of my top choices for sure. In fact, I was leaning towards it as my top choice. And in the end, I was weighing whether or not I was going to be applying ED in the summer going into my senior year of high school. And I decided that if I was going to get into any college, I wanted Dartmouth to be the one. And if I knew that if I was getting in here, I was 95% chance going to commit. So that made me think that it's okay to take the risk to apply ED because of the binding agreements and the fact that the financial aid may not be the best, but I didn't run into that issue. So I sent out my application, and then I got it back before the Christmas break, which worked perfectly because I hadn't done any of my essays for any of my other applications. So that saved me a lot of stress. I think in the last 6 weeks that I've been here, I found that everyone here is really supportive of who you are and what you want to become along where you are on that stage of a journey. So I personally am one of the newer members of a triathlon team, and I cannot swim for the life of me. So I've gone to every practice trying to get better at swimming, and everyone there is just really kind and always giving me really good tips. And I found that to be true not only in the club athletic, but also in the academic environment, where if I'm struggling in a class, I always have friends or TAs or professors that are really willing to help me along on that journey and getting me towards the right answer. I don't know. I felt like I really fit in on campus, but I knew that it was a really hard school to get into. Mm-hmm. And so I generally have really bad luck when it comes to this stuff, so I thought there's a pretty good chance I'm not going to get in because I'm not this crazy good academic person, and you really don't need to be that here. You just need to have the drive, the motivation, and I think anyone who shows those characteristics will find a home here at Dartmouth and do really well. Don't procrastinate on it. Don't procrastinate on the Common App or on any of your applications, even if you end up not applying to Dartmouth, because when it comes down to it, you will be submitting the night before it's due, or the night that it is due. But it really helps to start in advance. That way you put your best work out there, so that wherever you end up, the admissions officers really know and get a sense of who you are as a person, instead of just having it be these last-minute essays here and there.
Alright, I'm Rebecca, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm interested in studying government or environmental studies. I applied through QuestBridge Early Decision. QuestBridge is different from normal early decision because you choose several different colleges to apply to. So Dartmouth was one of 3 on my list, and you kind of rank the colleges in the order that you'd prefer them, and then your early decision application gets sent out to all of them, and then whichever school that's the highest on the list that wants you chooses you. So Dartmouth was the highest on my list that wanted me, so I got matched here with a full scholarship. Honestly, the academics were like the main reason that I chose to go here, but also I loved like the community and the vibe that I felt. Like I only got to like visit schools over the internet and like check out their websites or like see what other people were posting about on social media, but like honestly,
speak a little bit louder.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the community of people who like it seemed very tight knit, and that's kind of what I wanted in a school. So that was one of the main factors that like led me to putting it high on my list. I would say finding my own communities that I didn't expect to find this early on in my college experience. Like my trippies and my freshman floor are both like people that I'm very close to already, which I didn't expect like in my first term of college. Yeah, so I'm not like a typical Dartmouth student, I guess. I'm not from New England. I didn't go to a private school. I'm a low-income first-generation student, and I'm a queer person. So all these identities have like definitely, they've made me feel, I don't want to say different, but like I've been more aware of them at Dartmouth, and it's not necessarily a bad thing because people at Dartmouth are so nice, but it's just like it feels different from here than at home to be like surrounded by people who are like obviously not the same like social class or like area as I am. But I think it's a challenge that if you're willing to take it on, that you as a person, if you're applying and you're not like, if you don't have like the stereotypical Dartmouth student identities, that like you can find your place here and you will be happy.
I'm Sonal and I'm from Parsippany, New Jersey. So initially when I applied, I was interested in majoring in mathematical data science, and now that I've come here, the only thing that's changed is I want to major in mathematical data science and economics, so I'm on a double major now. So when I first applied early, before applying early, I was super stuck. I visited 3 times before making my final decision, and I think the most important thing that helped me was talking to a lot of students here on campus, like when they described like how they felt on campus and what they were doing, and you know, just like getting the vibe was really important for me, because I knew that academically, like between my choices, that I would feel in a good place where I went. It was more of like where would be like the right social fit. So I think that's like how I came upon my decision. I was talking to people and realizing that like people are academically intense, but they're socially relaxed, I think. I would say that my favorite part of the experience here has just been like meeting all sorts of like new people, because my high school was like very niche, and I think that everyone had kind of like similar interests. People were like from like similar backgrounds, we all kind of did like similar things, and here like you have the opportunity to make friends with people like from literally across the globe, and it's amazing. Like it's cool just like knowing people who like who are so different from you and have had different experiences, and also just like interacting with people like that and engaging in that story.
Abby!
I'm Olivia. I'm from Western New York. I live on the Seneca Nation Reservation. I'm interested in Native Studies and economics, and so hopefully we'll be majoring and minoring in those. Dartmouth was the first school I looked at and toured like 3 years ago. So yeah, it's the only school I ever liked. I like how rural it is. It's pretty small, good size. They have a really good Native program. There's a lot of Native students here compared to other schools. There's a lot of events here. A lot of activities, that's fun. I spend a lot of time at the Native House. We always have events there, so that's fun too. But Dartmouth, yeah, I'd have to say the Dartmouth Native program. It's like, so most schools have really small communities, and there'll be about like maybe 2% of the student body will be Native, but here we have I think like 4%, so there's maybe like 200 or more kids that identify as Native, which is cool. Make sure you love your school. When you apply to a school, if you're applying ED, you have to absolutely be in love with it. Otherwise, just apply regular, because then you have to be in a binding situation, and you're not free, which is why when I decided to apply ED, I'm very indecisive. And so that's the only thing I've ever made an actual decision on.
I'm Skylar. I'm a class of 22. I'm from Wellesley, Massachusetts. I originally applied thinking I was going to be a computer science major, but now I think I also want to study philosophy. So I took a tour of Dartmouth during my junior year of high school, and I just got the impression that Dartmouth students are really passionate about what they do. My tour guide, for example, was involved with several things on campus that were really different from each other. He was involved with improv, but also with sports, and he seemed really friendly, and it seemed like everyone at Dartmouth was really willing to become friends with you and to get to know new people, especially people who did something that was maybe different from them. And that impression has been the same since I've gotten here. Overall, when I was applying to Dartmouth, I thought that Dartmouth is maybe not as intimidatingly competitive as some other elite schools, and that Dartmouth, while it is academically challenging, puts an emphasis on collaboration. And so I found that to be really important, that Dartmouth is about learning from other people around you who are also academically motivated, and they want you to do well. They don't want to just compete with you. The people at Dartmouth are really great, especially the people that I've met through shared activities. I'm pretty involved with the Dartmouth Outing Club, specifically with the climbing team, and rock climbing was something I had never done before I got to Dartmouth, but it was really accessible for people who had never tried it before to join. And so now that I've joined the team, I've really enjoyed getting to learn a new skill and to build a community with these people who also like this really specific but really cool activity, because not a lot of people know that Dartmouth is a rock climbing team. That's not what I would have seen myself doing when I got here, ever. But it's my favorite thing here, and it makes me so happy.
I'm Celina, and I'm Mongolian, but I grew up in Shanghai, China. Okay, so I applied early decision, and I got deferred. And then so from around December till the end of March, I hated Dartmouth so much. I was like, screw you guys for deferring me. I don't want to come here anyways. And then I got in and I was like, yay, JK. I love you, Dartmouth, accept me. And yeah, that's my story. Potential majors probably economics or quantitative social science. Yeah. I guess a big influence in my life was my older brother. He's 2 years older than me, so when I visited Dartmouth with him when I was a rising freshman, I wasn't in love with Dartmouth, but I thought it was a cool introduction into what Dartmouth was like, because I never really knew about the school. And then when I was a junior, I started doing more research about it, and I realized that Dartmouth is a very unique school in the sense that while it is an Ivy League and it has that reputation and the academic rigor that a lot of people are looking for in a college education, at the same time, it's a very relaxed and chill place to study. It's not everyone is very helpful, it's very collaborative, and the community is very strong. And also, all Dartmouth students have a unique vibe in the sense that they're all very humble and low-key, but very talented and very passionate about what they do, but they don't flaunt it like some other schools. But so after I visited with my brother, I came again last year, 2 years ago, and then that's when I really decided I really like Dartmouth and want to ED. Yeah, I think you just have to remember that even if they defer you, it's not necessarily, you'll feel like it means you're not good enough, and you'll obviously lose confidence in the whole process, and you're like, oh, I'm not good enough for this school, they defer me, blah blah blah, right? But college decision is not it's not all about your skill and all about your grades. Sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture. Maybe at that moment, the admissions office decided you weren't quite right for the school just yet, and then when they look at you in the regular decision report, they realize that you are a good fit for the school, and then they accepted you. So you do have to keep that in mind. Try not to get too far down the tunnel of self-doubt and self-criticism, and just remember that they didn't reject you for a reason, and you were deferred, and that still means something, and to still hold on to hope and be confident in yourself, and that it's gonna work out at the end. I definitely think it was trips. I know trips is something that Dartmouth really, really likes to publicize to potential students, and it really is a big part of your Dartmouth experience. Right when you get to campus, you're a scared, nervous freshman. You're I don't know what I'm doing. I'm about to go into the woods for 5 days. There's 10 people I don't know. There's no shower, there's no phone, there's no toilet. Obviously you're feeling anxious and nervous, but then the Dartmouth, the upperclassmen, they're so welcoming, and you get to campus, you automatically feel you're a Dartmouth student. You're wow, I really belong here, and this is my home for the next 4 years. And these are the people that I'm gonna grow with and learn from and have and struggle with. And definitely on trips, my trip, we were all very different people, but then for those 5 days we really bonded, and we would stay up till 2 a.m. just talking about the randomest things, talking about our favorite movies, or about philosophy, or about our opinions on current events. So it was a really wholesome time and to really understand your class and like get to know people from a different background than yours.
What trip did you go on?
Oh, I was on Section E and Hiking 1. Very rigorous. I think an advice I have is to not be afraid to admit to yourself that maybe a certain school is not right for you. Like you can do all the research you want and like the school can seem perfect on paper, but then you know in your heart if you belong there or not. And if you don't belong at like this amazing school, like that's okay. Like at the end of the day, it's where you think you're gonna have a good time and where you're gonna thrive and get a good education. So if that school is not the top 10 schools, then so be it, right? Because if you're gonna have a good time, then it's gonna be worth it.